महफिल ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ-ਬਹੁਤ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ। ਨਿੱਗੀ ਜੀ ਆਇਆਂ। ਅੱਜ ਫਿਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਹਾਜ਼ਰ ਹੋਏ ਹਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਨਵੇਂ ਗੈਸਟ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਔਰ ਬੜੇ ਹੀ ਅਹਿਮ ਸ਼ਖਸੀਅਤ ਨੇ ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਨਾਰਥ ਤੋਂ ਮਾਰਟਿਨ ਸਿੰਘ ਔਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਮਿਸਟਰ ਮਨਨ ਗੁਪਤਾ ਵੀ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋ-ਹੋਸਟ ਵੀ ਨੇ ਔਰ ਮੇਰੇ ਪਰਮ ਮਿੱਤਰ ਵੀ ਨੇ। ਇਸ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕੋਲ ਜਾਵਾਂ, ਅੱਜ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਦੋ ਜਰਨਲਿਸਟ ਦਾ ਕਤਲ ਹੋਇਆ ਵਰਜੀਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਅਸੀਂ ਰੱਬ ਅੱਗੇ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਰੱਬ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਰੂਹ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਚਰਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਾਸ ਦੇਵੇ ਔਰ ਆਉਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਸਮੇਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਰੱਬ ਅੱਗੇ ਕਿ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੇ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਘਟਨਾਵਾਂ ਵਾ ਉਹ ਨਾ ਹੀ ਵਾਪਰਨ, ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਸ਼ਾਂਤੀ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆ ਉਹ ਦੇ ਸਕੀਏ, ਪਾਠ ਪੜ੍ਹਾ ਸਕੀਏ ਪੂਰੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਨੂੰ। ਆਓ ਵੈਲਕਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਮਨਨ ਜੀ, ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਅੱਜ ਦੀ ਚਰਚਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਬਹੁਤ
ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਦੀਪਕ ਜੀ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਨਵਾਈਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਔਰ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਆਉਣ ਦਾ ਮੌਕਾ ਮਿਲਿਆ। ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ।
ਮੈਂ ਚਾਹਾਂਗਾ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਗੈਸਟ ਹੈਗੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੰਟਰੋਡਿਊਸ ਕਰੋ।
ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਦੀਪਕ ਜੀ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਚੁਣਾਵੀ ਮਾਹੌਲ ਗਰਮਾਉਂਦਾ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ। ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨਾਂ ਕੁਝ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਦੂਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ, 19 ਅਕਤੂਬਰ ਦੀਆਂ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨਾਂ ਆਲਰੇਡੀ ਕਾਲ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਔਰ ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਮਿਸੀਸਾਗਾ ਵੀ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਕਾਫੀ ਵਸੋਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਕਾਫੀ ਐਕਟਿਵ ਹੈ, ਇੱਥੇ ਦੀਆਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਰਾਈਡਿੰਗਸ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਲਾਈਮਲਾਈਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨੇ।
ਬਿਲਕੁਲ।
ਉਹਨਾਂ 'ਚੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਰਾਈਡਿੰਗ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਹੀ ਖੈਰ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਸਪ੍ਰਿੰਗਡੇਲ ਦੇ ਨਾਮ ਤੋਂ ਜਾਣੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਸੀ, ਲੇਕਿਨ ਹੁਣ ਜਿਸਲੇ ਰੀਡਿਸਟ੍ਰੀਬਿਊਸ਼ਨ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ ਸੀਟਾਂ ਦੀ ਤੇ ਉਸ ਰਾਈਡਿੰਗ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਬਦਲ ਕੇ ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਨਾਰਥ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ। ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬ੍ਰੈਮਲੀ ਗੋਰ ਮੌਲਟਨ ਦਾ ਹਿੱਸਾ, ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਸਪ੍ਰਿੰਗਡੇਲ ਔਰ ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਵੈਸਟ ਤਿੰਨੋਂ ਰਾਈਡਿੰਗਸ ਦੇ ਕੁਝ ਹਿੱਸਾ ਮਿਲਾ ਕੇ ਇੱਕ ਨਵੀਂ ਰਾਈਡਿੰਗ ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਨਾਰਥ ਦੀ।
5 ਰਾਈਡਿੰਗਸ ਹੋ ਗਈਆਂ ਹੁਣ ਨਾ ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ।
ਬਿਲਕੁਲ 5 ਰਾਈਡਿੰਗਸ ਹੋ ਗਈਆਂ ਨੇ। ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਨਾਰਥ, ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਸਾਊਥ, ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਈਸਟ, ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਵੈਸਟ ਔਰ ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਸੈਂਟਰ। ਸੋ ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਦੇ ਹੁਣ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਐਮਪੀਜ਼ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਸਿਰਫ ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਨੂੰ ਨੁਮਾਇੰਦਗੀ ਕਰਨਗੇ। ਅੱਗੇ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ, ਕੁਝ ਐਮਪੀਜ਼ ਦੋਨੋਂ ਸ਼ਹਿਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਰਿਪਰੈਜ਼ੈਂਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ।
ਜੀ ਔਰ ਪੰਜਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਮੇਰਾ ਖਿਆਲ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਉਮੀਦਵਾਰ ਖਲੋਤੇ ਨੇ।
ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਜੀ, ਪੰਜੋ ਰਾਈਡਿੰਗਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਉਮੀਦਵਾਰ ਕਿਸੇ ਨਾ ਕਿਸੇ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਦੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਖੜੇ ਨੇ ਔਰ ਕਈ ਰਾਈਡਿੰਗਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਤਾਂ ਸਿੱਧਾ ਮੁਕਾਬਲਾ, ਫਸਵਾਂ ਮੁਕਾਬਲਾ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਉਮੀਦਵਾਰ ਵਰਸਸ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਉਮੀਦਵਾਰ।
ਜੀ, ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਹੈਗੀ ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਨਾਰਥ।
ਬਿਲਕੁਲ, ਉਹਨਾਂ 'ਚ ਇੱਕ ਰਾਈਡਿੰਗ ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਨਾਰਥ ਦੀ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਬੜਾ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਨਾਰਥ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ NDP ਦੇ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟ ਨੇ ਮਾਰਟਿਨ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ, ਉਹ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨੇ। ਸੋ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਨਿੱਘਾ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਮਾਰਟਿਨ, ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਦ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ।
Sat Sri Akal, Buddy. Sat Sri Akal. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, it's indeed pleasure for us that you could spare your valuable time as we are, entering into a very, very busy electoral season. It's the season to door knock, but you are here in the studio. We appreciate that.
Well, that's in fact it's the longest electoral season since the very creation of Canada, and so it's a pleasure to be here and for you to give me time.
No problems. You are equally welcome. Before we talk about the issues which are impacting this particular general election, the 42nd Parliament, which we are going to elect on 19th October, I would like you to tell us something about you, what you bring to the community, what you bring to the party, what you bring to the electoral system. So Martin.
Thank you, Paji, so much for this opportunity. And so what I'd like to do first is we talk about qualifications. And what we want in a candidate is someone who's not just going to be able to represent things here at home, but also represent well in Ottawa. And why do we think about this? We think about this because as much as we give a member of parliament importance here in the riding, because there is only one, yes, the fact of the matter is that 50% of your job is going to be done in Ottawa, where there's not 1, 10 or even 100 MPs, but in fact in the 42nd Parliament, as you mentioned, there will be 338.
Yes.
And so to that effect, let's just start with language. Yes, I read, write, and speak English, well, but I also read, write, and speak French very well also. What this means is that for the residents of Brampton North and their issues, I'm going to be able to speak to all of the national media at a single time. Yes. And for Brampton North, that's quite a unique thing. For example, if you had a member of parliament from Quebec who spoke French, not such a big deal. There's an
yes,
expectation that they would speak French. But to have a member of parliament coming from Brampton North, which is not a French-speaking community, be able to communicate with all the national media means that the issues and concerns of the residents of Brampton get shared with that many more people in Ottawa and are able to, be able to find the solutions to the challenges we have here.
That's right. Yeah. So that's why you came from Nova Scotia to Brampton North?
No, it's an interesting question. I mean,
tell us the story. Tell us
absolutely.
Your journey.
That's it. So yes, the journey. So what it is that we started a business some years ago.
Okay.
And this business is a pharmacy-based business and a care home business, and it was started myself and my brother originally when it was only pharmacy, and then when we expanded into care homes for people who suffer from mental illness, we brought on 2 other partners that had additional expertise in those areas. And so now in Nova Scotia, we have about 250 employees. Nice. In that province, and here in Ontario, we have about 250 employees. but all the partners were based in Nova Scotia. Okay. And so my wife and I, we were planning to move to Brampton anyways. Reason being is that while our village where I was born and raised in Nova Scotia is all very nice, there wasn't really any community there. Okay. And so we wanted to have our children grow up in the community, to feel the push and pull, understand the traditions and learn the culture. And so it just wasn't possible in Nova Scotia. And so when the partners came together for a meeting and said, you know, we have to make a plan to have someone go to Ontario, and pharmacy was the fastest growing part of the business here in this province, I said, well, my wife and I are planning already to go for family reasons and for culture and religious reasons, so we will be the one. And so that's really what brought me to Brampton in the first place.
Being an entrepreneur, why you have chosen NDP instead of Conservative Party?
Well, I will tell you, it's an interesting question you pose. Yeah. Many people bring it up.
You should be leader of union.
Well, I will tell you something. In fact, I'm going to address 2 points. I'll address your first point, and then I'll come back to the union question in a second. So, what it is that people think that the New Democratic Party is not aligned with business. In fact, that's not the case. In fact, the alignment with business is really very, very strong. If you look at statistics from the Department of Finance, so this is not NDP statistics, but Canada's own government, Department of Finance statistics, you will find that the New Democratic Party has the highest percentage rate of balanced budgets. Okay. Of all the political parties. And this goes right back to Tommy Douglas when he was the premier of the province of Saskatchewan. He had 17 years of balanced budgets in a row, and at the same time created the Medicare system. What it means is that you can see that the New Democratic Party has a solid commitment to running the economy well and running government finances well. We see that reflected also too in the current election race as well. Tom Mulcair just yesterday said, we are committed to having a balanced budget in our first year. Yes. You compare this to the Conservatives. They've been running government now for 10 years and have had no balanced budgets in any of those 10 years. In addition, Justin Trudeau, leader of the Liberal Party, says he's not committed to having balanced budgets, which means he's not committed to running the economy well. Can you imagine if you didn't have a balanced budget in your household for 10 years, Paji, what would happen? It would be a disaster.
That's right.
On top of that, policy base. We are going to be reducing the small business tax rate from 11% down to 9% because in the New Democratic Party, we recognize that small businesses create 80% of the jobs in Canada. This is not a new promise for us. This is not a new commitment. In November of 2014, the New Democratic Party introduced this plan to the House of Commons, and it was voted down by both the Conservatives and the Liberals because they don't have a similar commitment to creating jobs for our young people. Okay. In addition to that, Jack Layton ran on this exact same promise in 2011. And so you can see year after year after year, New Democratic Party is committed to balanced budgets, also committed to job creation. As a result of that, I feel very comfortable as a businessman running with the New Democratic Party. Your second question was on unions, Paji.
Let's talk about balanced budget first in Punjabi maybe.
Yeah, we'll Deepak ji ऐसी जेडे issues दे उत्ते बाद विच आवांगे लेकिन मैं हजे भी चाहना कि I would like you to tell us more about yourself. Your qualification, educational qualification.
Sure.
Perhaps this is the first time you're appearing on our channel and our viewers want to know more about you.
Certainly.
And also tell us about your family.
Sure. If we want to start very early, I became a Sikh in 1990, and that was done after some years of investigation by myself. And then after that, I took Amrit in 1993. I got married in 1997. In fact, I got married in India, in Amritsar. I got married at a Gurdwara that was in Ranjit Avenue A block. At that time, it was the Gurdwara beside the lychee orchard. The lychee orchard isn't there anymore. It's all housing now that's been put in there. But yeah, so my marriage document is in fact an Indian marriage certificate as opposed to a Canadian one. And now we have 3 children.
And it says a Hindu Marriage Act maybe.
I think it does, actually.
So what is your stand on that? First, let's be clear on that.
Yeah, well, I didn't have a choice in the matter, in fact, right? I mean, the thing that was most important to me is that I
be working on that too?
Well, the thing is this, is that what was most important to me is that I was very fortunate to meet a fantastic human being, my life partner in Amandeep. And so today we have 3 children. My boys are twins. They're 14 years old. And this year they're starting the Regional Arts program at Mayfield Secondary School for music. And my daughter, she's 12 years old, and she continues to do her schooling at Lougheed Middle School.
That's very
and
nice.
so from a qualification perspective, I also went to school myself for many, many years, and I was fortunate to have my wife Deep with me during that time, and she supported me all through that time. I went to university for quite a while, actually. I first did a chemistry degree and then a chemical engineering degree. While I was doing that chemical engineering degree, I was in Fort McMurray, working in the oil sands.
Oh, okay.
And the plan actually originally was to get a PhD in environmental engineering. That was the original plan.
Okay.
Yeah, but what happened there is that when I was working there, my father, who was a pharmacist and ran the family pharmacy, gave me a phone call. And very sadly, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer. And the law in Nova Scotia at that time said that you had to have a pharmacy degree in order to own basically majority shares or to own a pharmacy. And so my father gave me a call in Fort McMurray. He said, I would like you to take your plan for a PhD and put it aside, at least temporarily, and to come back home and start studying for a pharmacy degree to help secure the family business.
Yes.
And, you know, when your father makes this kind of request, you know, as a result of ill health, you must say yes. You have no option, of course. And I did it, you know, with my full heart. And so I went back and I studied pharmacy, and it worked out well. I ended up joining the family business myself, and that's how that whole process really began to grow.
Looks like your soul, even before, was matches with the Sikhism.
Well, you would say that, absolutely. I mean, people, actually, back in Nova Scotia, when we would go to the Gurdwara, people used to joke, I was just born in the wrong place, you know, in fact.
Are there enough Gurdwaras in Nova Scotia? What's the kind of ethnic setup over there, the demographic, especially from East Indian, South Asian community?
So the Gurdwara there is, there's one, okay, for Nova Scotia, and it's the only one actually in all the maritime provinces. It was created back in like the early 1970s, and so timeline-wise, people started coming to Nova Scotia at the exact same time they started coming here to Ontario and building really PAPE, you know, Gurdwara. But the thing is this, is that there was just a lot more jobs here, a lot more opportunity here in Ontario, and so the population grew. Whereas in Nova Scotia, you had an influx of people, mostly teachers and school principals and that type of thing, and a few doctors at that time. And the population basically stayed as it was. And there's, you know, children grow up there and they move away, but then there's some few students that come in to study and they stay. And so the population there has remained relatively stable since the early 1970s.
Okay, so now you live in the riding of Brampton North?
I do. I live right in the riding, in the heart of Springdale, actually. Our major intersection is Bramalea and Sandalwood.
Which is popularly known as Singdale now.
But for some it is, actually, yes, that's correct.
You know, with the predominant...
Absolutely, although I'd argue that there's probably as many Sikh people living in Brampton East or Brampton South even at this point, right? Because, I mean, the Ray Lawson area, you know, there are many of our community living there as well.
Right. Yeah. So you got married in 1997 in India, in Amritsar. So have you been back to India after that?
Oh, yes, for sure. So we traveled back in year 2000. Okay. And at that time, I assisted, you know, my family members sponsoring them, basically my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, and Deep's two brothers. Also, my wife's sister and her husband came on points basis, but I helped, you know, put the package together and facilitate that particular process as well. Nice. And then we've been back. I've been back one time since for a wedding, and my wife has been back 2 times since that. Also, you know, for weddings and family meetings. And that type
weddings is always a great occasion.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. You know, I mean, you know,
all the bhangdas.
That's it. Well, I mean, from a culture, you know, tradition, religious basis, you know, it's absolutely fantastic, you know, and you know, to participate in that is a real honor.
That's good. You were talking about oil sands.
Yes.
Tell us more about what's the politics going on in Alberta regarding oil sands and oil pipes.
So what's interesting actually for me right now, what I am seeing here is actually deja vu, meaning that the whole downward turn of the economy that I'm seeing is the exact same one that I saw when I was working in Fort McMurray in 1999. If you were to go on the internet, say Wikipedia, and you looked at, you know, the price of a barrel of oil at that time, it was very low also. And so I was really very much on the ground when they were doing all the layoffs at that time. And what's surprising to me is, given that this is not the first time that this has happened, it's shocking to me that the Harper Conservatives have actually failed to diversify the economy. They've entirely focused on oil throughout their entire mandate, and now basically the province of Alberta has gone into recession, and the Canadian economy itself, for the second time during the Conservatives' rule, has gone into recession. And so I feel like there's been many opportunities lost here. I mean, you look at Ontario, there's a huge manufacturing sector history that we have here. And the Conservatives have spoken about this, you know, so about 2 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago now, the Conservatives made a plan to invest about $200 million. So that's not a small amount of money in the manufacturing sector here. What's very sad is that as of a few months ago, the Globe and Mail reported that the Conservatives have actually spent not even $1 out of that investment.
Do you think oil sand will be a major impact in this election?
Absolutely.
A major issue?
Yeah, for sure. Because what it is, what you have is this in the situation here is that the oil sands and the fact that the Conservatives have focused so much on it impacts the entire economy. Meaning that as a result of their lack of diversification, we now, in fact, you could argue we have a petrodollar. Meaning this, when the price of oil drops, Canadian dollar drops.
Now it's $41 per barrel.
Exactly. Yes. And I mean, that's the lowest in what, 9 years, 10 years? I mean, it's significant. Yeah. And so the price of the Canadian dollar also drops.
That's right.
When I go to the doorstep, people say, Martin Singh, the price of oil is so much down. Why is the price of gas so high at the pump?
That's right. What's the reason?
The reason is this. Yeah. The price of the oil is priced in US dollars. And so when the price of oil drops, the Canadian dollar also drops. And so what happens is it takes more Canadian dollars to buy a barrel of oil, which means the Conservatives are punishing us on two ends. One, they're punishing us, by not diversifying, and as a result of that, having all kinds of people losing their jobs. But on this particular case, we don't even get the benefit of savings when the price goes down because the Canadian dollar also drops. And so it is as though Conservatives are slapping you on one side of the face and then slapping you on the other side at the exact same time.
That means the economy is not strong enough.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
Interestingly, you mentioned about gas prices. Ironically, in your riding itself, I saw a couple of gas stations. Their pricing is about 12 to 15 cents difference from each other. So how do you see these companies gouging customers for gas prices?
Yeah, so the thing is this, Budgie, is that gas pricing differs a lot across the country, and it's really hard to gauge what happens.
Even 500 meters apart,
That's right, but I mean even more than that, if you were going back to Nova Scotia has price regulation, in fact, in that province, and so things are regulated very differently all across the country. Like if, for example, you can wake up on Monday morning, Tuesday morning, Wednesday, and Thursday, and have a different price at the pump here in Ontario every single morning, or even every 2-hour period, because that's how it can work. In Nova Scotia, it basically changes once a week. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it changes on Thursday night. And so it makes it exceedingly difficult for anybody in the general public, myself included, to learn what's going on there. Yeah. But what I can tell you is that people, are challenged by the high cost of gas. And one of the reasons why they're challenged so much is because there's been a failure in job creation. And so you say to yourself, well, what's the connection between those two? The connection is this: people are living in Brampton, their car insurance is so high, property tax is so high, but the jobs have not been created here by the Conservatives. And so maybe they are able to find jobs, but they have to go to Toronto. They have to go to Burlington. And so the cost of travel, along with all the other expenses in life, mean that the revenue that they're bringing in from their jobs just isn't what it used to be.
Now, my question was, in Alberta, now there is NDP. Because we are discussing politics, so I have to come over there at the point again and again.
Sure.
So what NDP is doing better than Conservative? What they did they change some kind of policies there or not?
So what happens is that we have Rachel Notley there, who's the premier.
Because why I'm asking this question, because NDP might come into power instead of Conservative.
Yes.
And then this question will correlate with that, right?
Absolutely. Well,
absolutely. Because people are looking at what NDP got into power in Alberta after 4 decades of Conservatives in rule.
That's right.
So people are looking at perhaps maybe the same experiment in the federal, what even polls are showing right now.
That's correct.
It could be an NDP minority government, but let's see what happens in the next 50 days. So what is your take? Has your provincial NDP party in Alberta made some drastic changes?
So what you saw there is that you saw people making a very distinct change in the province of Alberta. What's really fascinating about Apaji is that the change that happened there was translated across the country within a 24-hour period. And I tell you what I mean by that. You had the election on May the 5th, and it was a majority NDP provincial government in an area that had voted Conservative for over 40 years. I don't know how old you guys are, but you look pretty young. That might have even before we were all born.
I just turned 20.
Yeah. Excellent.
I'm following him.
Excellent. So guaranteed sure it was before we were all born. The Conservatives came there. And so what it is that happened on May the 5th. On May the 6th, so just one day later, I was out canvassing. Already people were talking about it on the doorstep.
Definitely.
What was happening is that they said if the NDP can win there, they can win anywhere.
I think that was a game changer. The election
yes, absolutely.
was a game changer.
Well, what it was when we,
so far.
Yes. Well, when we look at the statistics and the polling, you saw beginning at about November 2014, December 2014, you began to see.
We need a little break here.
Yes.
I think it's time for a little break.
Yes.
Break ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਫਿਰ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਦੀਪਕ ਜੀ ਔਰ ਮੈਂ ਦੱਸ ਦਵਾਂ ਦਰਸ਼ਕਾਂ ਲਈ ਕਿ ਬ੍ਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਨਾਰਥ ਤੋਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਤਿੰਨ ਮੇਜਰ ਪੋਲੀਟੀਕਲ ਪਾਰਟੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟਸ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਕੰਜ਼ਰਵੇਟਿਵ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਤੋਂ ਪਰਮ ਗਿੱਲ ਨੇ ਜੋ ਕਿ ਇਨਕੰਬੈਂਟ ਨੇ ਲਿਬਰਲ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਤੋਂ ਰੂਪੀ ਸੋਹਤਾ ਜੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਰਿਪਰੈਜ਼ੈਂਟ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਔਰ ਐਨਡੀਪੀ ਤੋਂ ਮਾਰਟਿਨ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਸ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨੇ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਔਰ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਛੋਟੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਬਾਤਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਿਲਸਿਲਾ ਜਾਰੀ ਰਹੇਗਾ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਾਲ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਤਾਂ ਡੈਫੀਨੇਟਲੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੰਬਰਸ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਸਕਰੀਨ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਾਲ ਕਰਕੇ ਡਾਇਰੈਕਟ ਕੋਈ ਸਵਾਲ ਕੋਈ ਕੰਸਰਨ ਕੋਈ ਫੀਡਬੈਕ ਦੇ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ